Hello, hello, I'm Tracy Pierce. Thanks for joining me for this Live with the Animals video series. So this series was born out of what was happening here in the United States. Earlier this year, 2020, let's say around March, when the coronavirus really showed up and shelter-in-place orders were being handed down and, life just started to look very different. And I became curious what the animals thought about all this, both the inside and the outside animals. And they started really encouraging me to do this live video series. So here we are, and I think we're about 7 months, is that right? Several months at least into this. And, the animals just keep showing up with more messages. And so I want to honor them and continue to bring their wisdom to you. So today we have a very interesting guest. Let me get its picture up here. This is an ancient Greenland shark. So one of our viewers requested that I talk to this shark. He had sent me an article, and originally, let's see, these sharks are found up in the Arctic. And let's see, this picture in the article come from livescience.com. And it looks like originally they thought this shark was about 512 years old, but they've recently done some retesting, and they think that the shark's at least 270 years old. So it could possibly be one of the oldest living creatures on Earth. And one of our viewers was interested to see if I could do some animal communication with it and see what it might have to share with us today. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get quiet and start tuning into this shark and see what wisdom it might like to share with us today. As I start to tune into this shark, the first thing I feel is just this sort of vastness of the ocean. It almost feels like the shark's energy is just so big that it's spread through the whole ocean. Yeah, I almost feel like this shark could kind of hold us in a big, vast kind of container, and just, it feels like it almost has this really ancient know-how of energy. Like it could, I don't want to describe this. I feel like I'm sitting in a huge vat of water, even in the ocean, but it's almost like this shark could hold space for people, for healing is what it feels like. It just feels so ancient. It's kind of, yeah, I feel like it could just be held in this kind of space for a long time. I feel the shark's kind of, it feels like it's starting to look at me more directly, like with a bit of curiosity. I just get this sense of, so much knowledge over, being alive for hundreds of years. There's sort of this wisdom. Yeah, I feel it saying, I know when the time is to pick my battles. I didn't get to be this old by chance, it says. So I wonder, like, you've kind of shown us what your energy is like, what it feels like. I wonder what kind of messages or wisdom you might like for our viewers to hear today. Wow, I feel like I could just be so drawn into this shark. Um, I feel like what it's showing me has to do with, it's saying, maybe as humans we're so impressed that it is such an old creature, but it's showing me sort of the like reincarnation process of humans and how. So the reason that we admire this long length of life is what it's showing is like, so our human incarnation cycle, when we die, there's a lot of the learning things, we go into spiritual realms, and when we come back into reincarnation, in a lot of spiritual traditions, they talk about, we have the great forgetting of what it's like to be a spiritual being, and we forget about all of that stuff when we come back in. And the shark is saying that because of that repeated forgetting that we keep having as a human reincarnation experience, we're always looking to these more ancient creatures for their wisdom because they are alive for so much longer. I feel like, in some of the traditions that I've um, had experience in or learning in, one of the goals, it seems like, is to build enough spiritual structure, let's call it, so that when we do die and then go through that reincarnation process, that we don't forget as much, or we're able to bring more with us. Is there anything you want to say about that? Do you feel like that's effective, or how can we have this kind of greater, bigger wisdom that it feels like you have? It feels so much longer, like humans can't even seem to remember back to certain events in history that are replaying themselves. Like we just don't have that long awareness. Do you feel like spiritual practices or meditation, anything like that, can help us with those kind of situations? It's like, well, I'm not really sure about that. I'm not really an advisor on incarnation necessarily, or I'm not even so aware of humans really. Like my life is more in this dark sea, and I don't see humans very often. They're not really part of what I'm doing here. They're not my biggest concern. Okay. Do you want to tell us about your life, or what you are doing here? Like your vision for the world or the area where you live? So it's showing a lot of changes in the water where it lives. It's showing there's this sense of kind of like things kind of remaining the same for some significant amount of time, and how now things have changed. It almost feels like there's some change in the water temperature that is not what it's used to, it says. It is aware of the global warming and that changing. It's showing me it does tend to dive a little bit deeper now than it used to. It says I do like the colder temperatures. That's part of what has helped me live so long. Um, my regeneration, or the way my body works, does so much better in the cooler waters. Yeah, it says it's been noticing it has to dive even deeper and deeper and deeper to get that same cool temperature that it was used to being closer to the surface before. So I wonder, um, how do you feel? Do you feel like that it's affecting the other species in the water where you are? Are there other changes that you're noticing that, have, what's the word I'm looking for? Accelerated? I don't know, especially in the last maybe 100 years, industrial age kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's showing in more like the last, I feel like it's showing the 70s, like 40 or 50 years, how things have gotten exponentially, have changed more quickly. The shark is showing sometimes it feels like even the earth is spinning a little bit faster than it used to. I says that's a metaphor, but it's things are accelerating, things are happening more quickly than they used to as far as environmental factors, the shark is saying. So do you have any thoughts or things that you want us to know about um, what's happening there, or any kind of shark wisdom that you want to share with us? I feel like it's showing something about how cold can be our friend. Um, can you tell me more, or so it's showing some of the like oh gosh, what's it called? I can't think of the guy's name. Wim Hof, guy who does the cold water plunges. The shark is suggesting that for some people, like I know personally, that's it's not always the best thing for me. um, I've heard some um, practitioners who work with the nervous system and stuff say that repeated cold dipping can actually just literally cause our mammal nervous systems to go into a freeze response. Um, is there? Yeah, he's saying, well, this isn't for everybody necessarily. Like, there's going to be people who their nervous system is very sensitive, and that's not appropriate. But it is he's showing this sort of like hot and cold therapy, like being in the sauna and then go plunging in cold water and then going back into the sauna, kind of thing, showing how managed use of cold can be really beneficial. It's showing, like I'm feeling a little bit tired this morning. It's showing me like I could probably really use some ice on my eyes, like a cool pack on my eyes to help. Humans are really drawn to being comfortable, and warmth is way more comfortable than cold, the shark is saying. Yeah, I have to say I feel a little bit, I don't know if triggered is quite the right word by what you're saying, just because I know like cold therapy is something that hasn't necessarily worked for me. Do you have any suggestions for like what kind of people might really benefit from that versus those who don't? It's like, I don't know. That's that's you guys' thing to figure out. I'm just telling you what I know about me, and that I really, really benefit from the cold. And it's possible that you guys could too. Okay, so it sounds like we're kind of up to our own to figure that out individually. But I know there are plenty of people who swear by that cold therapy, um, cold plunge, all of that. So checking for any questions we might have for our ancient shark. See me right now. All right, my ancient shark friend. You've been around for so long. I wonder, is there anything that you want to share with us? Besides what you've already shared with us, any ancient wisdom or ways we might be able to be more connected to these deeper, earthy, um, ancient parts of ourselves? So he's pointing, or it is pointing to the energy center. Like in martial arts, it's usually called like dantian. So like a little below the belly button and then back inside the body. It's showing how, saying most of us as a human race are quite out of touch with the energies in our belly. We've been raised to believe they're bad, they're evil, they're wrong, especially people who have been raised in any kind of religious kind of context. It's easier or better to just ignore the belly desires. There's a lot to do with sexuality and primal energies that are there. And it's showing how like we can get really locked up in that area of our body depending on our programming, culturally, how we were brought up. And that when we can kind of unlock that energy or at least become more in touch with it there, it's showing how that there's something about, so it shows that energy center being acknowledged or tuned into, and then it shows this sort of drop of energy that goes down into the earth. So it feels like what you're showing me, it's almost like that energy center in the low belly is the key to us being able to connect down into the lower energies of the earth. Is that right? Yes. Okay. So is there a way for us to get in touch with those energies that you feel might be appropriate or beneficial? This is going to vary from person to person. So he's showing me these different examples. Like some people, they just need to have a lot of sex. Some people, they maybe need to really commit to some kind of workout regime where they're really like putting their will into it and going after it. Some people may need to, it shows like working with a counselor or maybe a spiritual advisor or a therapist, something where I see it's almost like, so it's showing this energy center can be really blocked, like showing there's masses of stuff around it. So maybe you need to work with somebody to help kind of unravel the bits that are getting tangled up there. But being in touch with this energy center is really, really important to be able to connect in with this more ancient part of ourselves. So this shark says it feels like humans who do have that connection to the energy below. It's showing me like a column that goes straight through, like kind of along our central channel. It's called different things in different traditions, but it kind of runs like right in front of the spine. So like the column going above, through, and then down below, and showing how when that column is running clearly, especially when it runs down below, that we're going to have more intuitive information be able to come in more quickly. So showing me it's almost like a shower drain, like, I don't know, I'm somebody, my hair falls out a lot in the showers. There's always a ton of hair. And showing how, if you don't take the hair out of the drain, how the water level just keeps going up in the bathtub. And he's showing like the water level in the bathtub being like the gross gunk. And it's saying like the same is kind of true with our energy centers. If they're not running smoothly or if there's junk packed around them, it's going to cause some chaos and energetic blocks, and really is encouraging us to be in touch with that area of our body. saying all predators in nature are very in touch with this energy center. It has a lot to do with going after what you want, and you know, from a wildlife perspective, that means going after your dinner. He's saying though, like from a human standpoint, maybe that's going after the job you want, or going after other things in life that you want. Showing how if that energy center is blocked, it's going to be a lot more difficult, and like getting smacked down and falling away. It's going to be challenging. Well, my ancient shark friend, we're coming to the end of our time here, so I wonder if there's anything else that you would like to share with us before we close our session today. It, okay, how do I translate that? It kind of feels like I feel like it's saying I just don't have all that much interest in humans. I'm enjoying my life. If I die tomorrow, I've lived a full life, and that's fine. I've got things to do, but I'm not as concerned about my connection with the humans as they are with their connection to me. Okay. I can understand that. You've got stuff to do, and yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Shark Friend, for sharing all your wisdom with us today. Certainly it was interesting to talk to such an ancient old being. Hope you found that interesting. And if you're looking for other videos talking to any number of other kinds of animals, check out my YouTube channel. I've got tons of videos up there talking to all different kinds of animals. And I expect these sessions will continue indefinitely. So I hope you'll join us again some other time. And until next time, take care and be well.